All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Welcome to the 2023 to 2024 GENup Policy Slate celebration. We're so excited to be sharing and highlighting our policy successes with you this year. We have a fantastic agenda lined up with a lot of incredible leaders across California's both political policy and education space. So we're so excited to be with you here today. We have more than 23 bills on our slate this year that were signed into law by the governor, including 4 that were written by our very own GENup students, affecting both K through 12 public schools, as well as community colleges, CSUs, and UC institutions across California. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it with their first speaker, the one and only incredible Ted Lempert, president of Children Now. Ted, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Alvin, and just totally honored to be here. And just thank all of you guys so much. GENup is just a premier advocacy group, and that's among all the advocacy groups there are in this state. I appreciate you also letting me kick this off. I'm actually about to teach my California politics at UC Berkeley that starts at 4:10. So appreciate you and several GENup folks are actually part of that class. So appreciate you letting me go first. So. Again, I just want to reiterate, Children Now works with hundreds, actually thousands of other organizations in the education and health space. We work with a lot of professional associations, so many organizations, many of them with full-time lobbyists, full-time staff, big government relations departments. And what you guys have done on a volunteer basis in terms of the number of bills that you've pursued, the policies you've changed, is just truly remarkable. And I think really a testament to what we need so much more of in California and throughout the country, and that is true student leadership, not leaders of tomorrow, leaders of today, and you guys driving the agenda because you know better than anyone what's really happening in our schools, what's happening to young people today, both in K-12 and higher ed, and with the ideas to change it. And I know from Children Now's perspective, awfully, we're following your lead and supporting you on so many issues involving education equity, mental health, and other critical issues. There's a lot of work to do, and just so thrilled with all the leaders here on this Zoom, and hope you recruit a lot more college and high school students. Children Now is going to be publishing its report card in the next few weeks, and while we've made improvements in a number of areas, and a lot of that is thanks to you guys and thanks to the incredible legislators who are going to be speaking to you today. I see Assembly Member Aramula, who will be speaking shortly, and I know some other superstars, true kids champions are going to be speaking to you. But even with that progress, we've got a long ways to go to make sure that every student can get the mental health supports that they want and need, that we have an education system where there's actually counselors and nurses and support staff on every campus, where we make it much more simpler and affordable to attend college and then provide the supports to stay there, and really make sure that a lot of the inequitable and systemically racist policies that have really damaged our systems for too long get broken down. And a good example of that is the progress we made this year on changing some of the school discipline policies. But when you look nationally, when California does a lot of great stuff and we lead in a lot of areas, we're not leading when it comes to outcomes for students. We're no longer the leader in higher ed. We're no longer the leader in K-12. I'm passionate about us getting us back there, and that includes resources and supports and outcomes. And we're going to need your leadership to do that. So just want to thank you guys again, and just at Children Now, we're there to support you. We want to work even more closely in the future, providing government relations support as we can, always there to provide advice and support, because what you guys have done is truly extraordinary, and I look forward to GENup continuing it for many more years to come. So thank you, and look forward to hearing the great legislators that are going to be speaking in just a couple minutes. Thanks so much.
Thank you once again for those wonderful words, Ted. And again, it's absolute GENup's honor to be working in partnership with Children Now, and we look forward to another successful policy year with Children Now as a core partner. Next up, we have Assemblymember Arambula. So passing it over to you to take it away. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. It's wonderful to participate in today's event. It was great to be able to work with GENup this past year as we passed and signed into law by the governor AB 447, a bill that focused on inclusive higher education. And so I'm proud that we're able to now look towards the 7 CSUs and 2 UCs that currently provide wraparound services so we can support our disability community in their pursuit of higher education. And we're using that as models for other higher education institutions to look at. We also provided suggestions on how they can help to braid some funding with local resources from regional centers so we can provide more opportunities at these schools. When we look at California, we notice that the employment numbers for our disability community are not what they are nationally. And the path to success often lies within higher education for so many, and we need to make sure that we're creating those inclusive spaces for our disability community. I'm proud of the work that we were able to do together and how we were able to tell the story, but it was people from those institutions where they've gotten those supports who were advocating for themselves. And I'm grateful to be able to have worked with GENup during this time to make sure that we were able to successfully pass this law. Thank you for allowing this to happen. It occurs when we have real advocacy and when we have people stand up. I believe when you work in the people's house, you have to listen to people. They've been demanding this change for a long time, and I was glad that we were able to do it together. Thank you for allowing me to participate today.
Thank you so much for joining us, Assemblymember Rambula, and we look forward to working with you towards another successful legislative year for California students. So thank you so much for everything that you do. Next up, we look forward to welcoming the incredible Senator Anthony Portantino. So Senator Portantino, welcome and take it away.
I guess, let's see. Am I unmuted now, I think?
Yep, you're good now.
Oh, there we go. It's great to see my good friend Joaquin Arambula. Say hi to your dad for me. And great to be here with all of you. Obviously, 467 addressed a problem of access to apprentice programs. It's, laudable that the state has recognized that all students, regardless of where they were born, should have the opportunity to go to community college and get educated. And so obviously DreamX students have been taken care of as far as access. But what good is the education if you can't then get the job, if you can't get the apprentice program, if you can't get into to the career path, because certain identifications were required for those access. So the Faculty Association came to me with the idea to solve that problem by making sure that there's no prohibitions on those programs. And so that's what the bill did. And I was happy to author it and glad it got signed by the governor right away. He didn't hesitate. He signed it right away. Because certainly as a dad, we want all kids to have access to education. And then we all want kids to have access to the jobs that go with that education. And so happy to have been the author of that important bill and glad to be here with all of you and look forward to seeing what policy you guys bring forward next year, right? Joaquin, we want to see what's on the docket going forward. So happy to be here to thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for looking out for one another. And one of the observations that I've made about your generation versus past generations, you are so much more nurturing and caring of each other than other generations in the past. And it really warms my heart as a parent to see how much you look out for each other.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Senator Portantino, for all that you do. We've worked with you and your team for a long time now. So thank you so much for everything, whether it's the work for mental health, to school finance reform, etc. Thank you to you and Tara as well.
Yeah, my team is outstanding, and Catherine worked on 467 this year and did a great job. And obviously, Tara does great work as well. So thanks for bringing them up too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Senator Portantino. We look forward to working with you. Righty. Next up, we're going to pass it over to Ryan, who is our Director of Collegiate Policy, to talk a bit more about our collegiate policy slate for the year and just highlight some of our top line successes. So Ryan, passing it over to you to take it away.
Thanks so much, Alvin. And yeah, I just want to start off by saying how important I think moments like these are in our work. I think everyone would agree who works on policy issues, especially those of us who are also full-time students here at GENup, We finished one legislative session, and I think we just started looking for the next problem to solve. And I know a lot of us, students and legislators alike, are already ramping up for the 2024 year, and we've got a lot of exciting ideas in store on issues from student housing reform to tuition refunds to basic needs. Still, it's really important to take dialogue like these, to take pause and to recognize the incredible work that we've been able to accomplish this past year, and as well the legislators that made it happen. And to those of you who were able to take the time to join us for this celebration day, we're especially grateful for your support. And I want to give a brief shout out to all the members of GENup Collegiate, George, Kate, Kim, Ali, Matt, Ashlyn, Drea, whose hard work continues to make this all possible. In total this year, GENup Collegiate had 15 supported bills passed into law, including 2 of our own GENup student written bills, AB 461 and AB 1138, that you'll be hearing more about today. And none of it would have been possible without all the students and legislators on this call that made it happen. So with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Alvin.
Alrighty, thank you so much. And no worries, Ryan will be going into more detail later as well on what these bills are. But now we want to pass it off to our next couple of special guests. First off, we're going to welcome the fantastic Senator Josh Becker. So Senator Becker, thank you for joining us. Welcome and take it away.
Well, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, it's perfect.
Excellent. Well, good to be with all of you, and another big year that we had in the legislature on education funding, despite a deficit, massive increases, as we'll hear about today in UC, CSU, and K-12, 8% increase in K-12, about $1 billion in the other systems. Huge increases in climate, where we did great work across the board in terms of building electrification, in terms of EV charging, in terms of corporate accountability and emissions disclosure. Really just across the board, lots of big wins. And I see Senator Wiener here. We were in Climate Week. California was the talk of Climate Week in New York this year because of some of those bills. And then it was just a huge year around economic issues and making this a state that everyone can live in. We did a minimum wage increase for healthcare workers that they're saying could cost $4 billion. Well, that's $4 billion into the pockets of low-income healthcare workers, which is extraordinary, not including the $10,000 raise each for fast food workers. So these are really significant economic pieces. But when you think about the California dream, the mobility part of it, it's absolutely critical that we allow working people to have a chance to live in California, actually buy a home in California, work one job, hopefully not 3 jobs. These are some of the biggest things from data brokers, which was a tremendous win on the privacy front. So just a big win, and none of it's possible without the youth voice. The youth voice is absolutely critical, obviously in climate particularly, but in all and education, but really in all the issues that I mentioned, the youth voice has been critical. And having you both propose legislation, support legislation, speak for legislation, and really at all levels too. We appreciate it up here, but I know when I go to my city council meetings, when young people show up, that everyone sits up and puts away their phones and listens to what you have to say. So just grateful to be here and see some of my amazing colleagues that you'll hear from as well. This is a tremendous platform we have, and this was a good year for using it.
Thank you so much once again, Senator Becker, for joining us. Again, we're so excited for our long partnership with your team and you and your office, and we look forward to another great year. And once again, thank you for all your leadership on climate, as well, and especially the intersection of climate and education. Next up, we have the incredible Senator Scott Wiener. So Senator Wiener, passing it off to you. Feel free to take it away.
Great. Thank you, Alvin. Thank you all for having me. And thank you for the work that you do. I know we worked hand in glove when we took our strongest run at trying to improve teen access to vaccines, and I really appreciate that collaboration. And we came incredibly close, but it was a really heroic effort against that was against some really tough odds. So thank you for that. This year we I think took some really strong steps, particularly around housing, where we were able to pass some, I think, really transformative new housing policies, including a major bill that I authored to significantly expand housing streamlining to get housing approved in a matter of months instead of years, and then a bill, SB 4, to allow religious institutions, nonprofit colleges to build affordable housing on their land and automatically rezone it and approve it, which could open up to 170,000 acres statewide for affordable housing. We also are very focused on student housing. We worked with a great coalition last year and passed SB 886. We are next year going to be doing some adjustments to that law to make it as implementable as possible. In addition to housing, which is so critical for the future of California, and particularly to give young people hope for the future that you'll be able to make lives for yourself in this state. We need so much more housing. We're making, I think, finally on a policy level, some real progress. I'm also super high priority for me this year, and this will remain next year, is funding for public transportation. Our transit systems, particularly in the Bay Area, are at severe risk of having to make big service cuts because ridership it is recovering, but not quickly enough. And so we did a bunch of work this year in the budget, and we're able to obtain $1 billion statewide, $400 million for the Bay Area, for operational funding support for our transit systems in the Bay Area. And then we were able to put together another $300 million regionally that will ensure particularly that Muni and BART do not have to start slashing service. And because of that funding, we've put off the sort of doomsday until the middle of 2026. So we now have some breathing room, but we're going to get right back at it next year to try to solve the problem, including working towards a regional Bay Area ballot measure in hopefully 2026 to generate long-term stable operational funding for our transit systems. Public transportation is so crucial for our region and for our state. We're not going to achieve our climate goals without more and better public transportation. We just need to shore up what we have and to keep making it more expansive and more accessible. So that's going to be a very high priority for me. In addition, mental health is always a top priority. For me, we've been able to pass some big laws to force insurance companies to cover more mental health treatments. This year, we took a run with Children Now with SB 238 to try to make sure insurance companies are providing coverage, particularly for kids and young people's mental health needs. And so that bill made it very far and then died in its last committee. We're now taking a look at what might be possible next year. So those are a few of the things that we're working on, and I really appreciate your collaboration.
Yeah, thank you so much, Senator Wiener, for all your work and partnership. Working with you last year on SB 866 was incredible. And we look forward to continuing the work this year, especially the intersection of housing and student housing. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you. All right, next up, we're passing it over to Kim, who is our former director of collegiate policy here at GENup, to speak more about some of the incredible pieces of legislation she led last year with our higher education policy team. So Kim, thank you so much for joining us. Passing it over to you.
Thank you, Alvin, for passing it back to me. I just want to make sure people hear me. Okay, sounds good. Well, congratulations to GENup Poly successes this past year. 23 of our bills have been signed and passed into law, and 3 have been written by students, powered by students, and delivered by students. Absolutely amazing. So, hi everyone, I'm Kim. I'm the former director of GENup Collegiate, and thank you so much for GENup Collegiate and K-12 teams for fantastic wins for and by students each year. It truly has been an honor to serve as the director of GENup Collegiate for the entirety of my college career these past 4 years. GENup has taught and guided me so much about how educational institutions and legislature function. Trust me, the learning curve is really steep. And further represented the importance of student advocacy and uplifting our communities and holding our universities accountable to the goals of equitable higher education. From passing ethics studies as a high school graduation requirement to establishing better access to mental health hotlines on student IDs, we have worked to empower us as students to build the community and education we need and deserve. This past year alone, GENup Collegiate passed 2 of our written bills, AB 461 for harm reduction and AB 1138 for sexual assault transportation resources, which both work to establish a safer campus for all students in a proactive manner. With the high and deathly risk of fentanyl hidden in drugs, AB 461 ensures that all college universities provide free fentanyl test strips for students to safely test and understand what they're taking, as well as education to understand these resources. And with AB 1138, universities will provide free transportation services for sexual assault survivors to access the care that they need after a traumatic incident. And we did not stop there. Beyond our written bills, 13 of our supported bills, among the other 10 with K through 12, have been passed into law to improve accessibility to student housing, academic resources, mental health, and remove barriers to financial aid, foster more diversity and accountability to our institutions, and support students with disabilities. While some of our bills did not survive, we will work hard to revive and keep fighting for student rights. It is so powerful to see students making change with their minds and creativity. I remember all of us brainstorming resolutions to support our ideas, pitching in countless Zoom meetings to legislators, and testifying and rallying at the Capitol for our causes. We've truly forged these ideas from our own experiences and proven that our youth, knowledge, and passion are what makes us strong to show up for our communities. Together, we as students can make the communities we all want to live in. I would truly miss this space, and I'm so proud to be part of this space of incredible student activists and will continue to support GENup from afar. Thank you to the legislators, to the community members, to the teachers, to the students, and to GENup for believing in us as students to advocate for equitable, accessible, and affordable education and higher education through legislative policies and community organizing. All in for GENup. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim, for joining us. And once again, special shout out to Kim for the incredible work she did here at GENup and really elevating our policy work. So thank you so much once again, Kim, our honor to have you. Next up, we're going to have Senator Skinner go and then Assemblymember Fong. So thank you both for joining us. Senator Skinner, feel free to take it away.
GENup, I'm so happy to be with you, and absolutely what Kimberly was saying is accurate. Your successes, your existence, the good work that you do is demonstration of the power of when students come together and organize on their own behalfs. And I was so proud of your good work on behalf of my bill, SB 274, which ended the willful defiance suspensions. Now, we had to put a sunset in it, so but we were able to expand eliminating willful defiance suspensions in all grades from, basically TK all the way to end of high school to 12th grade for the next 5 years. And hopefully someone past me will be able to continue it because we know it's successful and we know that willful defiance suspensions only hurt students. They don't help them. And your good activism and your good work helped to get across the finish line. So thank you. You're excellent. And it's wonderful to join you.
Thank you so much, Senator Skinner, for joining us and for all of our work with your office. And thank you for all your leadership as well, especially on SB 274 and really moving the needle forward on addressing the school to prison pipeline. So once again, thank you so much for everything. And we look forward to a continued partnership with you this upcoming legislative cycle.
Good. And I look forward to continuing to work with GENup. Go for it.
Thank you so much, Senator Skinner. Next up, we have the incredible Assemblymember Mike Fong. So Assemblymember Fong, thank you for joining us and take it away.
Thank you so much, Alvin and Kimberly, and to the entire team here. It's an honor and privilege to join GENup. You guys are tremendous. Thank you so much for everything you do each and every day, and it's an honor and privilege to join your celebration here today. I'm Assemblymember Mike Fong, representing the San Gabriel Valley in District 49. It's great to see each and every one of you here today. I'm the former trustee for the Los Angeles Community College District, and I believe in the power of the student voice and activism. All of you are doing tremendous work. I'm so proud of all the work you do to activate for advocate for students up and down the state. This past year, we introduced a package of student-centered bills, including Assembly Bill 1540. Very grateful to GENup for your support on Assembly Bill 1540, which will help streamline the process for undocumented students apply for both in-state tuition as well as state financial aid through Cal Grants. We know that the California Student Commission conducted a report that found that only 14% of undocumented students eligible for financial aid actually received aid. So this bill will hopefully expand access to higher education for more of our undocumented students here in California. We know a lot of our undocumented students attend community colleges, and a good number attend the CSU and UC system as well. And we know this bill received widespread support. And thank you, GENup, for your leadership and efforts. To all the students on this call, thank you for your testimony in committee meetings and to making sure that your voices are being heard. And we're grateful that the governor signed Assembly Bill 1540 into law. But I'm really grateful to all of you for everything you do each and every day for your advocacy for students up and down the state. I've seen many of the different meetings and committees and in Sacramento and throughout the state. So I'm looking forward to working with you on continued efforts to expand access to higher education, as well as measures to support our students in higher ed and K-12. So congratulations again. Honor and privilege to join you. And thank you so much, GENup, for everything you do each and every day for students up and down the great state of California. Keep up the great leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Fong, for joining us. And again, look forward to working with you for another incredible legislative year. And thank you for all your leadership in supporting California's students and youth.
Thank you, guys. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we're going to be welcoming the incredible Assemblymember James Ramos. So Assemblymember Ramos, thank you for joining us, and feel free to take it away when you're ready.
Well, I just want to thank you, and really with GENup and the voices that you bring forward to the state legislature on pieces of legislation that drastically affects you. It definitely has to be from peer-to-peer type of collaboration. Certainly as legislators, we know some things, but we don't know everything. And so by being able to have your voice move forward on pieces of legislation like AB 461 that we got signed into law, that will bring those test strips to community colleges and to the community college and to the Cal State University system, shows that we have to be able to be more proactive, making sure that fentanyl doesn't reach to the areas of what's being an epidemic within our communities. One of my first bills, we tackled the social media platform of them selling fentanyl over their social media platform, Snapchat. That bill was signed into law. So this is something that's very much has our attention in moving forward. But GENup and your voice is so much needed in the state legislature to be able to ensure that we're tackling the issues that drastically affect you, being more proactive to get these test strips out. Now the message is going to be, how do we get these test strips out, and how do we let students know that this is available to them? We have to be able to work together, and it's my honor to be able to be here as the assembly member for the 45th Assembly District and carry this piece of legislation forward. And by doing that, I carried your voices forward, using me as a catalyst. So continue to do that and use the legislators to get your voices heard at the state level.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Ramos, for joining us today. And once again, thank you for your leadership and partnership on this critical bill for fentanyl test strips to really solve this epidemic that's now obviously seeking into higher education institutions across California. So we look forward to another fantastic year with you and your team to really making a lot of substantive change for California's roughly 2 million students that are in CC, CSUs and UCs. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just really wanted to put a plug in for National Native American Heritage Month, which is the month of November. So continuing to work together and bringing all those voices together to make our state more diverse and have the voices of all people moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Assemblymember Ramos, for joining us. Next up, we have the amazing Assemblymember Alex Lee.
Hey, GENup, how y'all doing? I'm Alex Lee, State Assembly member for the 24th Assembly District here in the Bay Area. And Alvin's actually home assembly member, so I'm very proud of you on everything that GENup is doing. I believe you all kind of originated in my area too, so really happy to see what y'all doing. As the youngest state legislator in our legislature, still, unfortunately, after so many years still, and the first openly bisexual state legislator and the first Gen Z state legislator, I'm really glad that there are so many talented young people that will hopefully fill the ranks of the legislature in many offices that are coming up. So really, really appreciate all the incredible work you do. And, honestly, it goes to show a lot that you can work with so many great spectrum of legislators on so many different diverse bills, and it speaks to your own grassroots organizing power. So you should feel very, very proud of that effort. In fact, I go to high schools like I went to today and give presentations, get people motivated to actually do something and use their civic skills, but you all are actually applying to it. So you all can be the ones that are conveying that and showing them how it's done. But, I'm really appreciative of the two bills that we worked on this year that unfortunately did not get us far. But we had AB 640 that authorized explicitly that minors could telework so that, hey, you could do online tutoring as part of your work when you're at high school. That was even a bill that it was brought to me from Fremont High School students too, and it had a lot of support, and unfortunately got stalled. And then we also had AB 320 that improved student representation on the Student Aid Commission by adding 2 additional student commissioners to CSAC, the Student Aid Commission, so a total 4 student members, 1 from each type of higher institution, so that's UC, CSU, community college, and the private schools. So currently there's only 2 students in the entire system, and we wanted to have more representation of the Student Aid Commission, especially as we are modernizing student aid to make it more durable for the 21st century, frankly. So those bills, while they're not up the finish line yet, I still have a lot of hope that we can do a lot, but I think you should have a lot to be proud of. And, sure, we encountered some legislative obstacles this year, but we're currently working to address them, and we can continue to prioritize amplifying student voices. And as we start the next legislative year in 2024, I encourage you all to continue bringing awesome ideas and concerns to community leaders and legislators. It's not just enough to be in the room. We as the next generation need to be heard, and we will continue to push the envelope until action is taken. And again, I think it's incredible the work you've done in just the time that I've been in office and seeing this organization grow. I know you're going to do so much more. So thanks so much for amplifying the youth voices and making sure that I'm not the only Zoomer that they hear from. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate all the work you do.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Lee. And once again, special shout out as well, since you're the youngest member of the legislature, you really are a strong carrier for our voice. So thank you so much for everything that you do, and we look forward to continually working with your office for a fantastic cycle this upcoming year. So thank you so much. All right, next up, we're going to pass it over to the leaders of our GENup K-12 policy, Ria and Fiona, who will be covering and highlighting some of our incredible K-12 bill successes for this year. So passing it over to Ria and Fiona to take it away.
Yeah. So we are really proud of our policy successes this year, especially our K-12 policy team for passing 7 of our for helping pass 7 of our co-sponsored bills into law, really impacting youth by not only keeping students in school, saving youth mental health for real, and ensuring student success and student future success. We had, legislative victories in areas like identity equity, mental health, civic engagement, and environmentalism. And so we'll sort of go more into those. So I'll pass it to Fiona to sort of go over some of the bills that we co-sponsored this year.
Hi everyone. I'm Fiona, and I'm one of the K-12 co-chiefs here to talk about some of our legislative successes. And just wanted to say, as someone who went to public school all throughout my life, and I'm still at a public institution, I love investing in public education, and I definitely felt like a lot of my own passion for educational equity as a low-income student of color were addressed with a lot of our bills. So super excited to be in the movement to pass these important pieces of legislation. So we're really glad to have one of our student written bills signed, AB 873 by Assemblymember Berman, which integrates media literacy standards. Super important at a growing time of mis and disinformation as young people are more and more desensitized to media and also find themselves like intaking a lot of different sources, really making sure that we know what is accurate and approved information as we navigate the world. In terms of our civic engagement and mental health slates, we also passed AB 714, which requires more integration for newcomer students, and AB 665 by Assemblymember Carrillo, expanding mental health consent rights for minors under Medi-Cal, which is a bill I worked on extensively. And finally, for mental health, SB 350 by Ashby, which grants students additional excusal days to mourn the death of family members or any close relatives. And I'll pass it back to Rhea to go through the rest of our slate.
Yeah, so for our identity equity slate, AB 800, really integral, authored by Assemblymember Ortega, which basically requires a worker readiness week to be placed near the end of April. This is really integral because a lot of students in high school also have jobs, but most of the time they don't know what their rights in workplaces are. So it's really important that students know their rights so that they aren't working long shifts on the next days that they have tests, which if they have that compounded stress really affects students' mental health. So yeah, and I know Senator Skinner sort of talked about SB 274, but this is a really big win for just students all throughout California, prohibiting suspensions and ensuring that students stay in school, and suspensions and expulsions for willful defiance or just defiance that predominantly impacts Black and Brown communities. So it's really important that we keep students in school instead of taking them out and focus on sort of restorative justice practices. And our last sort of issue area, environmentalism, we're really proud to have AB 579 passed, really getting carbon neutral school buses or 100% sort of carbon neutral school buses to be implemented in schools in California by 2035. Super important to reducing the impacts of emissions and climate change. And lastly, this is an effort that we've been working on for 2 years now, I believe, but AB 285 by Assemblymember Rivas that really integrates climate change education into K-12 school curriculum. So this is really important because we want to make sure that students are getting that climate change education and information on how to mitigate climate change. So we're really happy about all of our legislative successes for the K-12 team this year. And it couldn't have been possible without our high school policy team. And then I'll pass it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just wanted to wrap up by saying we're super excited to continue our policy work for the upcoming year. And I'll pass it back to
Thank you so much, Rhea and Fiona, and apologies for jumping in there. My Wi-Fi connection is a bit laggy, so I think I missed the last part, so I didn't know. But yeah, thank you guys for all your incredible leadership for K-12 policy and for seeing our incredible K-12 policy slate through. Next up, we're going to pass it over to Ryan, who leads our collegiate policy slate, to share more about our collegiate successes this year. So Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I'd say with the collegiate slate this year, two of the bills we're most excited about, most proud of are the two GENup student written bills, AB 461 and AB 1138. that you've already heard a lot about so far this meeting, and that our previous Director of Collegiate Policy, Kim, also spoke on and did a lot of good work to help get across the finish line there. I think it's a testament to how much Collegiate has accomplished, that the other 13 GENup collegiate supported bills we unfortunately don't have time to get into, but one issue I really wanted to call attention to that GENup Collegiate has been taking on is the issue of the student housing crisis in California. As a graduate of California public high school and community college systems, this is an issue that I know impacts thousands, about tens of thousands of students across California, and it's one that GENup Collegiate has really been taking the lead on. This last year, we are proud to be a founding member of the Student Homes Coalition, and we got to work on some really exciting legislation. I think earlier we heard Senator Wiener talk about SB 4 that does a lot to help streamline housing around private college institutions in California. And we're really excited to keep working on those issues, both with Senator Wiener and with a lot of the other legislators in California that recognize the student housing crisis as a central issue to educational success. And yeah, with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Alvin.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And thank you once again to Ryan, Ria, and Fiona for seeing through another fantastic and successful policy slate for the coming year. Next up, we're going to pass it over to the incredible Dr. Nellam, who's the Executive Director of EdTrust West, another core partner of ours along with Children Now. So Dr. Nellam, thank you for joining us and passing it to you to take it away.
Thank you, Alvin. It's good to be here, and I am super, as always, inspired by all of you and all the work. Some of you know myself was a first-generation college student. I am a Cal Grant and Pell Grant alum, or success story. I grew up in our states, in the Imperial Valley in our state, one of the lowest income counties in our state. And college for me was just mostly about survival. I was just trying to get by. And so I'm super inspired that all of you are some of you are in college doing the good work, and then also changing our state, which is amazing. And so I'm just really inspired and very authentically welcome partnerships moving forward with GENup and ETW. Some of the issues that we work on together that I know we both care about are mental health, ethnic studies, financial aid, college affordability, K-12 finance. And so really inspired by the good work on the bills that you all co-sponsored, of course, the bills that you all wrote as well. I know our team also worked with you all in some of your student voice work. I believe some of your GENup folks are in our Fierce Student Fellowship now. And so really just want to say, appreciate you. Thank you. I'm humbled by the great work that you do. And our team is working on our slate of bills for next year. I know we're celebrating, but as your colleague, I think Ryan said a few minutes ago, we're also already thinking about next year. And so if there's anything you want to partner on, please hit us up. We're trying to get our package done by December 11th, and we would love your insights, your expertise, and partnership. So congratulations, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nellam, for joining us. And once again, thank you for all of your incredible partnership and adult allyship in making GENup possible. And also, again, we look forward to another great year with EdTrust West. So thank you so much for everything. Alrighty, next up, we're going to play a video message from Assemblymember Berman, who was unfortunately unable to join us today, but who was a fantastic ally in helping carry our media literacy legislation that was sent into law by the governor. So here's a video message from Assemblymember Berman.
Assemblymember Mark Berman here. Thanks for giving me the chance to virtually pop by your youth policy slate celebration. GENup was the sponsor of my bill this year, AB 873, which will integrate media literacy instruction into the core subjects that all students learn from kindergarten through 12th grade in California. Children and young people today are inundated by misinformation and disinformation on social media networks and digital platforms. As we've seen too often in the last decade, what happens online often has real-world impacts, from climate denial to vaccine conspiracy theories to the January 6th attack on our nation's capital. Media literacy instruction is essential to keeping our students safer online and to safeguarding the future of our democracy. GENup played an essential role in this bill from the very beginning, helping to mobilize support and sending GENup members to testify at hearings. GENup also supported my bill, AB 789, which makes groundbreaking student-centered reforms to financial aid in California. This bill is a game changer for higher education students, allowing them to keep their financial aid, to stay in school, and to accomplish their higher education and career goals. And beyond my bills, GENup had a great legislative year. Your effective advocacy and organizing made a huge impact this year. Youth voices are essential within all public policy, but particularly within education policy. When young people come up to the dais during committee hearings, legislators really listen. When you send in letters of support or write op-eds, we pay attention. I look forward to seeing all the great bills GENup will lead in the coming years. Thank you so much for your advocacy.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Berman, for that wonderful video message and for his leadership and his partnership on making sure media literacy is now a reality for California's 6 million public school students. We're now going to pass it over to Genevieve, our current Executive Chief of Policy and Programs, to talk about this year holistically and for a quick wrap up. So thank you so much, Genevieve. Passing it over to you to take it away.
Thank you, Alvin. So excited to be speaking today. This is probably my third GENup policy celebration that I've been a part of. Alvin and I have been here doing GENup policy since the very beginning when he called me up on my way to the dining hall and he was like, what if we got involved with policy this year? I'm so excited to see how much our team has grown, and it's incredible to see our student advocates really step into the shoes of influential policy leaders in today's California education landscape. We're really excited to see what comes next this year. Our K-12 and collegiate policy teams are already really hard at work putting together next year's slate, but I'm so proud of what we have accomplished here, and I know that I will be able to look back on my college experience knowing that I and we made a difference in the future of California's education. I'll pass it back to Alvin.
Thank you so much, Jenna, and for all of your work these last years in not only making our policy possible, but also GENup possible. And on that note, we're going to conclude our policy celebration for the day. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us and for all your partnership and support to everyone who's here in making GENup's work possible, to all the legislators, the community partners, our members, our student allies, nonprofits, etc. Again, that really make GENup's advocacy come to fruition. So thank you all so much. We look forward to a great brainstorming session these next couple of months and a fantastic start to our legislative cycle after the new year. So stay tuned for more information on our policy unveiling coming up in a couple of months. So thank you everyone for joining us. Happy Wednesday, and hope everyone has a fantastic Christmas holiday and a great start to their 2024. Thank you, everyone.